that you put a nice finish coat on these drums, but it makes them really slippery. I just noticed it. All right. Okay, so we'll keep doing that. Always me, then you, okay? Very good. Round of applause. So each and every one of those little patterns that we played can be considered a rhythm. And rhythm is the basic building block of drumming music. Usually when you're playing rhythms in a setting like this, the idea is that we cycle our rhythms. Okay, we play them over and over again. Alors chacune de ces petites suites qu'on vient de faire, de suites de notes, on pourrait considérer ça comme un rythme, a rhythm. Okay? Typically what we try to do is we try to sort of have a little vocabulary of rhythms that we can contribute into the group. So I've been teaching a few rhythms, and when I'm teaching rhythms that are kind of designed for people to remember, I like to associate words with them because it makes them easier to remember. And eventually you kind of get a little, you know, little palette of ideas from these rhythms, and that's the idea, is to give you these things. So one of the rhythms that I've taught goes, I like peanut butter, I like jam. Okay, well,
I
remember that one.
Peter, I love jam.
Exactly. Okay, so that's one that we remember. So this one, when we're doing the low sounds, when we say the words I like, that's when we do low sounds.
Yeah,
and when
that's
we say
right.
Peanut butter, when we say peanut butter or jam, that's when we do high sounds.
Whoa, whoa. We like them both.
Oh, both. Okay. All right. So the first part of the rhythm, 2 low sounds and 4 high sounds. It sounds like this. I like. So try that. And the next part of the rhythm goes, I like. Now, if you can manage 2 hands at the end, that's good. But if you only want to do 1, that's okay too. Doesn't matter. I like. So when we combine those 2 ideas, it's okay. So that little rhythm, let's think of that as like a bicycle wheel. Okay, so it's a bicycle wheel that we're just going to keep turning and turning. Every time we get to the word jam, it just is going to make another revolution. So it sounds like this. So for a lot of people, that's kind of, well, we've done that a lot of times. For people who it's new, it's the kind of thing that you just try to match your words with your hands, and it'll just kind of come. The more you do it, the easier it gets, right? Very good. So another pattern that we worked on, as a little review, again, a pattern using high sounds and low sounds. The words, or the sequence goes, listen to my drum, hear my drum. Or, en français, on dit jouer du tambour tous les jours. So this one is a sequence of 5 notes, listen to my drum, and then a sequence of 3 notes, hear my drum. And it's always the last note in the set, which is played low, and the other notes are played high. So it begins like this, listen to my drum. So give that a shot. And then the second portion goes, hear my So if we tie those two things together, the 5 notes with the 3 notes, it sounds like this. Listen to my drum, hear my drum. So these two patterns that we just played are similar. They're built on the same kind of what we call a beat structure in music. And the beat is the thing that should tie everything together in music. And the magic number in most musical things when it comes to beats is 4. So I'm going to use the big drum here to just play a nice low steady beat for us. So the first pattern that we played goes, listen to my drum. Oh no, sorry, beg your pardon. I like peanut butter, I like jam. I like peanut butter, I like jam. So you can hear the steady 4 beats. And if we played listen to my drum, hear my drum, both of those things again follow the same basic beat pattern. Okay? And so what that means is that we can combine them. You can have some people playing one, some people playing the other, and that makes the music that we're playing more interesting and richer. Okay? So I won't assign parts this morning. I will just say, if you would like to start out by playing I like peanut butter, I like jam, you can. And if you would like to start out by playing listen to my drum, hear my drum, you can do that too. But what we'll do to make it a little easier is that I'll start all the people who want to play peanut butter first, and if you want to play the second rhythm, just wait, and then I'll get you going after that. And then everybody should be playing at the same time. Okay? Alors, on commence avec le rythme de peanut butter. Après ça, on ajoute le deuxième rythme, jouer mon tambour. Okay? So anybody who wants to start with peanut butter? 1, 2, ready, go. just kind of like these rhythms kind of speak into each other. And that's the idea. And as you learn more rhythms, you can kind of just add to the group a little bit more. So I want to introduce a new idea today to the group. And this is a whoops, there's my watch. It's okay, I can fix it. It's Lego. It comes apart and then I put it back together again. So the little concept I want to work on today is exploring a very, very simple rhythm, but doing something really kind of special with it. All right. So for this rhythm, I want you to put one hand towards the center of the drum, and I want you to keep your other hand towards the edge of the drum. All right. So I'm right-handed, so my tendency is to play the low note with my right hand, but it doesn't matter. But most people will find that easier, okay, for this exercise. All right. So to start out with, let's everybody just kind of play a nice, steady, one-hand low note like this. This other hand, very good. This other hand, we're gonna kind of interject that hand sometimes. All right. So to start out with, let's play the other hand here on the edge after every second note that we play in the middle. So it'll sound like this. Just let me play by myself for a second. 1, 2. So I'm slipping that one in between. Okay, so this hand never changes. It's just playing that nice steady beat, but this hand kind of slips in on the side. Okay, so we'll count that. 1. For that rhythm, because for what we're going to do, words wouldn't make sense anyway. What's that?
3 over 4
Yeah, you could sort of say that there's 3 over 4. You're kind of playing 3 notes over 4 beats. What's that? Sorry, I don't understand what. Rebecca, do you understand? Sorry.
V-A-L?
The dancing, you know, like.
Oh, waltz.
Oh, waltz. Oh, yeah. No, that's not a waltz. No, okay. No, it's not a waltz. But it's funny that you should say that because that's the next thing that we're going to do will feel more like a waltz. Okay, so that's good. All right. All right, now we're going to try the same thing, except we're going to add this extra note after every third of the low notes. So initially we just did 2 low notes, 1 high one. Now we're going to do 3 low notes and 1 high one. And you're going to feel, this is going to feel more like a very slow waltz. So it's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Just to get your hands used to the idea of sort of having one hand that's steady, that doesn't change, and the other hand which is just kind of adding this extra little boop. Okay, and that extra little boop can happen in any number of different places. So we practiced it in a regular kind of way, but now what I want us to do is I want us to do it in an irregular way. With no, so there's no right amount of notes in between, there's no wrong ones. So what we'll get as an effect, if we do this right, is we'll have the effect of this like sort of low, steady beat, and then these little notes that kind of appear randomly in between, right? So it's a really good exercise to understand or get that feeling of unified whole and individual voices. Because the unified whole will be that low note, and you'll hear the little individual drums everyone's just playing. So basically, I want everybody to keep this going, and then just let me just explain for a second. Keep this going, and then just kind of when the spirit moves you, just add another one in, and it's a really, really neat effect. Okay, so let's just try that. We'll start out just playing all together. Nice and low. When you want to add that extra one in, just add it in. So, it was a little rocky at the beginning, but did you notice towards the end that it got to a point where we almost had a kind of a complete, like it almost sounded like there was always low, high, low, high, low, high. It's just that the highs were coming from all sorts of different directions, right? So, I don't have a name for that exercise. I should think of a good one. If somebody can give me a good name for that, you should let me know.
Doubling it up. Marching tempo.
It's like a marching tempo, yeah. Slow march. Okay. So that idea too, what we were were just doing there. If you're ever in a drum circle and people are just improvising, it's just a free kind of jam. That's a really good thing just to play if you don't know what to play. Because it always fits. It's going to fit no matter what. No matter what you do, it's going to fit. So it's a good one for sure.
What is that one?
Yeah.
What is the rhythm of that one?
What?
What's the rhythm of that one?
What's the rhythm?
Yeah. I remember she said boom, 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 jack, boom,
Yeah.
jack,
Boom boom chak? Yeah, sure. Like I said, there's no word. I don't have any words. I don't have a name
I saw
for
the
it.
lady, she dancing and she said only boom, boom, jack in fine. So.
Yeah, so you can think of it as
And they have many different kinds, like cha-cha-cha and Bosodom or something, I don't know, many.
yeah, no, I don't know all the Latin dances either. There's the cha-cha and the rumba and the song. Exactly, yeah, there are lots of them. So anyway.
Merengue.
Good, okay.
I can,
So,
I can do the dance, I can't do the drum.
Yeah, I saw somebody
but
dancing
hey, if
when
you know what the dance name is.
yeah, somebody
It's
found
great.
today, a lady need have a group in, I forget, one a year, and one time I remember that group in Canada, and when people drumming and then sometimes they stand up and dance.
Great.
After they dance around, you know.
Hey, if somebody feels like dancing today, then I'm not going to stop them. That's fine. All right, so
There's some things missing?
no, I was just wondering. Yes, but I didn't tell you I was going to use them today. You know the sticks that are the wooden ones that hit together. Could you just grab those for me? Yeah, that would be good. All right, so so really, where we're trying to go with this drum circle is to get to a point where we can have enough participants that we can really just jam, just make music together that's kind of improvised, spontaneous. Nice. Okay. Good. So I've shown the group in previous weeks a little bit about the shakers. And shakers are pretty self-explanatory. You shake them. That's how these work, right? These sticks are not meant to strike the drum. They're not drumsticks. They're meant to hit each other. Okay? So there's different names for them, but the most common name that musicians use is clave, which comes from the Spanish word for key, or in French we'd say clé, C-L-E-F, and this is clave. Because in a lot of Latin dance music, these instruments provide the key rhythm that everybody else follows. So you can hold them stiffly and strike them together, but you see the sound isn't very nice. Right? It's very muted. So the proper way to play claves is to hold one very loosely in your hands, just enough so that it doesn't sort of roll out of your palm, and then strike it with the other one. And so that allows the wood to vibrate. So I would tell people, if you ever are drinking from a mountain stream or something like that, and you make a cup with your hands to drink out of, that's the idea. You just kind of cup your hands and place the clave on top. So I think that's a lovely sound. I enjoy the sound of clave. So in previous weeks we've talked a little bit about the shakers. Like I say, we've talked a little bit about the frogs. Sorry, Froggy. The frogs are played by rubbing them or tapping them. Right. It's funny. Normally the sticks don't fall through like that. So now we have claves and frogs and shakers. So for our sort of, end of session jam, feel free to come and grab something, or if you want to try one of the other instruments, and we'll use the drums too, but we'll add some other stuff in as well. So
What are the black papers?
Oh, these are just another kind of shaker.
Oh. Okay.
Little egg shakers. Nice, very bright sound.
We like have, we don't have like that.
The claves? You want to try the claves? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, try to hit sort of, well, depends how you hold your hand. But, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Let me see your hand. Loose, relax. Can you turn your hand over? Relax. Try it. Alright, I'm gonna drop the big one. Okay, so again, for our last kind of jams, I'm just going to give you a nice, steady beat, and if you want to play a drum and try one of the rhythms that we've learned, great. If you want to try to add something in with the shakers or the claves or the frogs, just try to do something that kind of feels good and fits with the music. jams are sounding better and better all the time. It's good. All right, so that's kind of the idea. Now, in a lot of drum circle kind of settings where it's a community circle or just casual circle, they'll kind of, anybody who has an instrument that they don't mind sharing, they'll just put in the middle of the circle, and then as people feel inspired or whatever, they'll just stand up and they'll grab something and they'll change it up. All right. So because we have some mobility issues here, we're not going to do exactly that thing today. But what I would like is I'd like everybody to have a drum and something else to make noise with close by to them. On a chair next to them or just on the ground next to them. So everybody needs a drum and something else. Shaker, tambourine, frog, whatever. Okay?
A shaker?
And like, don't be shy. You could change it up, switch it up if you want to change or you want to try the
You don't want
frog
this?
there. Yeah. Juan, do you want to try something different? Yeah.
Want a shaker?
Shakers.
No.
Yeah, so curve your fingers a little more. More like that. Kind of like that. Like pretend again that your hand is cupped. Beautiful. Yeah. And then try to strike this close to the middle of the bag. See? You guys want the little sound over that, right? Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So to continue, with whatever you have in front of you, whether it's a drum or shakers or whatever, I want you to just repeat after me. I'm going to play a sequence of 7 notes. Okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Nice, okay? So, sometimes in a drum circle, what you do is you establish a musical cue, a musical idea that's a signal to everybody that something's about to change. All right? So, une idée qu'on utilise dans la musique de percussion, c'est souvent une idée d'un rythme qui donne un genre de signal pour le changement. Okay? To signal a change in music somehow. Particularly in really traditional African drumming, some traditions in Africa have dozens of these musical signals, and each one of them means something different in that context, right? And so if you're sort of a practice drummer, you know what all these different things mean, and so you can communicate all sorts of ideas without ever having to use words. It's really fascinating. So today what we're going to do for our signal is this idea of the echoing 7 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what we'll do is we'll start our jam. The jam will just keep going and we'll, get a little groove going. And then I'll play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so as soon as I do that, it doesn't mean you need to stop immediately, but it's like we're about to change. When I'm done my 7 notes, then you echo back 7 notes. We'll do that 3 times altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 times. After the 3rd time, I want you to change something. Okay? So change instruments, change the pattern that you're playing, trade instruments with the person sitting next to you, do something to change, and then we'll start the jam back up again, and it'll sound different. Right? Okay, so it doesn't matter where you start right now, on a drum or whatever you got. good jam, everyone.
Yes.
Okay. So it's good. We're building every week this some new ideas into it, and I'm finding, I'm feeling like the jams